Good morning, everyone. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome all of you to the inaugural session of two-day Enrichment Workshop organized by Department of Education, Vasanta College for Women. We are gathered here today in the spirit of learning, inquiry, and deep reflection. With this, we are reminded of the essence of true learning as expressed by renowned philosopher and educator Jithu Krishnamurti. He said, education is not the mere learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. These words remind us to be open, curious, and present-free from judgment, preconceived notion. On this note, without further delay, to start this event in the most serene and harmonious manner, I invite Department of Music to present the Vasant Geet of the college. Thank you, Hanuman sir, Shiviji, Dinesh Mishra ji, and my dear students from Department of Education for that beautiful rendition of the Sangeet. What a perfect day to start this enriching workshop. Now I would like to invite our principal ma'am, Professor Alka Singh, to deliver the welcome address and felicitate our esteemed guest of honor.
I would not miss this opportunity. It is an opportunity of a lifetime for you. And the minute Meenakshi mentioned when I was in Chennai for a meeting, I had barely heard what she plans to do, and she just mentioned it, and that was more than enough for me to take up. You come to the college, because I've always been wanting her to interact with my teachers, with my students, because I know that it is going to be an enriching moment for all of us, with the kind of experience that you have, with the kind of involvement in education and a way of life which is simply so admirable. I am so grateful that you've traveled all the way from Bangalore to be with us, and I'm sure that these children are blessed to have you amongst them. I'm really very happy. I will not take up your time. Very, very delighted on behalf of all these children, my teachers. A very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for inspiring words and warm welcome. Your guidance and leadership are truly the pillars that make this institution stand out. Now I invite Professor Asha Pandey, ma'am, to introduce our esteemed guest of honor, Professor Meenakshi.
A very good morning to all. On behalf of Department of Education, Vasanta College for Women, I feel incredibly humbled and privileged to introduce you all to our speaker for today's workshop, Professor Meenakshi Thapan, who has worked extensively in the domains of special theories and gender studies. She is a distinguished sociologist and educationist, and she has taken keen interest to be with us for 2 days on the workshop, Being a Teacher Beyond Teaching, a Krishnamurti Perspective. Madam is currently the Director of Rishi Valley Education Center under the aegis of Krishnamurti Foundation, Andhra Pradesh, and also a trustee of Krishnamurti Foundation since 2012. Her keen interest in the work of J. Krishnamurti, especially his educational thought, and her personal meeting him with him in November 1973, and her working in Rishi Valley for a year brought transition in her view of education forever. Madam started her academic journey from Delhi School of Economics, where she pursued her Master's, MPhil and PhD in Sociology. She has also awarded Commonwealth Postdoctoral Scholar from University of London, Institute of Education. She brings more than 40 years of rich academic and administrative experience as serving in the Department of Sociology and Department of Education in Delhi University. She has also been the co-coordinator of D.S. Kothari Center for Science, Ethics and Education, University of Delhi. Her work in the field of education has focused on school and schooling processes in India and across the globe, especially in the countries of Canada and France. She has, to her credit, international and national publication in form of books, journals, in the articles and research papers in reputed journals in national and international. Some of her recent works like J. Krishnamurti and Educational Practice, School and Moral Vision for Inclusive Education is worth mentioning. Along with that, Living the Body, Embodiment, Womanhood and Identity in Contemporary India. She has authored a number of books like Life at School and Ethnography Study. She is a series editor in a number of books and Education and Society in South Asia, Sociology and Social Anthropology of Education in South Asia. She has, to her credit, more than 24 research papers in edited books. Madam has travelled far and wide across the globe for professional development and involvement in the countries of USA, France, Italy, Denmark, and worked as visiting fellow and visiting professor. Madam is known for her humanitarian assistance coupled with positive and motivational attitude towards the well-being of society. Her long-standing and dynamic association with the philosophy of J. Krishnamurti has provided an asset to her expertise. She is constantly giving her services for innovation and effective practices in teaching and learning along with evaluation. For sharing her valuable ideas in the present context, we invite you, Madam, for your rich deliberation in the two-day workshop. Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am, for that insightful introduction. It's with great pleasure and anticipation that I may invite our esteemed guest of honor, Professor Meenakshi Thapar, to share her thoughts about the workshop. Ma'am, we are eager to hear from you.
I don't know how to work this, that's the thing. First of all, I want to thank you all. I'm so happy to be here. आपको पता नहीं होगा, but I was a B.Ed student यहाँ पे in 1975. Even before your parents were born. Long back, and Vijay Ji, she was a principal here for some years. She was my teacher. I never finished my B.Ed because I was very young. And I had already spent 1 year away from home in Rishi Valley. So my parents ने मुझे वापस बुला लिया दिल्ली. So I went back and I then did MA and MPhil and all that. They said B.Ed बाद में कर लेना. So तो हो ही जाएगा, but it never happened. So I am without B.Ed talking to you. But I think I have some experience. But first of all, I want to thank Kalka ji and all your teachers who have invited me, allowed me to be with you and share with you the kind of work I have been doing in recent years. I have taught B.Ed students in Department of Education in DU, Central Institute of Education, for 13 years. In between, I was there for that period, and then I went back to sociology. So I have experience of working with you, students like you who work in schools, do internship. I have supervised practice teaching in schools in Delhi, all over Delhi we used to go. So I hope that you will find it of interest. I want to introduce the workshop. So how do I do it? You don't have to stand, please don't sit. So at Rishi Valley, please sit. We have we call it Rishi Valley Institute for Educational Resources, right? It's a part, it heads the unit for rural education. तो बहुत साल पहले, कोविड के पहले, बिहार गवर्नमेंट approached River that please prepare for us some rich audio-visual material for our teacher trainees. They have done B.Ed, but when they go to schools, they still feel that they are full of all that they have learnt in B.Ed, but they are not able to practice it. Because they have done practice teaching, पर फिर भी उनको कुछ experience चाहिए, आप लोगों कुछ prepare कीजिए, because this river is famous for activity based learning. all over the country in the 80s and 90s. It was very successful with the help of UNICEF. They have a program, briefly I'll talk about it. So anyhow, that was the शुरुआत. And what happened was COVID happened. So that Bihar, हमने तो काम शुरू कर लिया, but Bihar government के जो पैसे थे जो हमें support करना था, that all went into COVID management. But my colleagues in Rishi Valley said you must continue this work. So throughout COVID, when Rishi Valley was closed for some time, we were working on developing this program. So let me just run you through it. Where do I point here? Not moving. This way or this way? Yeah, this way. Maybe I should use the laptop. This is a So what is right education? You must be all familiar with the workings, writings of J. Krishnamurti. Do you know this quote? If any of you do, please raise your hand. This is that, is it not both the cultivation of a brain that can function excellently in the world and also psychologically understand the whole meaning of existence, the self, the I, the psyche? So can't both of these go together is what Krishnamurti was always saying. That like two well-trained horses trotting together, pulling a cart, and oops, I think there's some switch which is loose. Okay, so he's saying, can you understand my question? Apparently one horse is highly developed and the other is still a baby. Tell me which horse is highly developed? If you look at what he's saying, the two horses, which horse is highly developed in all the schools in which you have worked or which you know about, you read about? आपके अपने स्कूल जहाँ आप पढ़े हो वहाँ का बताइए, कौन सा horse is more developed? First one, very good, correct. First one is the one which is excellent, academically excellent, but psychological development is low. So what will happen? It will not, the cart will tumble. So we are not focused on that aspect of learning. So what he's saying is, if there is a possibility of changing the thought, the feeling, the attitude of the teacher, then perhaps there can be a new culture. So everything rests on you. You are really, I'm not just saying it like words, like teaching is a noble profession. ये तो आपने cliché सुना होगा. But I am not saying it like that. Krishna ji really reposed faith in the teacher as the agent of change. आप सब में वो है शक्ति to be that agent of change. Please remember that. And here you can just listen to him.
What we are trying in all these discussions and talks here is to see if we cannot radically bring about a transformation of the mind. Not accept things as they are, nor revolt us. Revolt us to answer everything. But to understand it, to go into it, to examine it, give your heart and your mind and everything that you have to find out a way of living differently. But that depends on you or not somebody else. Because in this there is no teacher, no pupil, there is no leader, there is no guru, there is no master, no savior. You yourself are the teacher, the pupil, you are the master, you are the guru, you are the leader, you are everything.
Okay, So do you see what I mean by your being everything? Huh? The transformation lies with you. Now this is...
There are four major developments in modern science which have enabled this work to go forward. And I'd like to just name those four themes because they're so central to all of this work. The first is neuroplasticity. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard this word, and it simply means that the brain changes in response to experience and in response to training. Most of the time, the brain is changing unwittingly. Most of the time, we are being pushed and pulled by the forces around us and not engaged in the intentional shaping of our brains. And a central theme of my remarks today is that this is an invitation to take more responsibility to intentionally cultivate our brains in ways that can promote well-being and healthy habits of mind. We can take advantage of neuroplasticity and intentionally shape our brains for the good. So that's the first theme. The second theme is the equivalent of neuroplasticity in the realm of genomics. And here I'm referring to the science of epigenetics. And epigenetics is the science of how genes are regulated, how genes are expressed. And you can think of genes having little volume controls that go from low to high. And while we're all born with a fixed complement of base pairs that constitute our DNA, the extent to which a gene is turned on or turned off is highly dynamic and can be impacted by experience. We know, for example, from hard-nosed biological research that the way a mother interacts with her offspring can significantly impact the regulation of genes in the brains of the offspring. And the regulation, the alteration of gene expression can persist for the entire duration of that offspring's life, based on these early interactions between the mother and her baby.
So do you understand why I'm showing you this? Why is this there? Because you as the teacher have the same role as the mother. And the neuroplasticity of the brain of the child is in your hands, how to work with the children. Because you can transform the children. Recently in Rishi Valley we had a neuroscientist, a lady, who has done a lot of research with children. And she told us that age 0 to 10 is the most important phase for learning for children. तो जो आप लोग जो छोटे बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं, you have a particular responsibility. It's not just with the mother. Yes, the mother's interaction will have impact the gene. But your interaction, because the child is with you when they are from 4 or 5 years onwards. They are with teachers in school for 8 hours or more or less in a day. So that is this is why I brought out this to show you how important your role as teachers are. So this is our enrichment program. It's not for, let me tell you, it's not replacing B.Ed or B.L.Ed or D.L.Ed. It is a program which adds to that. All of you are doing B.Ed. Some of you are going to finish quite soon, I think, and go into teaching. This is just to enrich your understanding of whatever you already know. I'm sure your teachers are doing a great job teaching you different topics in several subjects, but this will help you to understand, just enrich your understanding. Okay, the primary cause is to curate content that makes you feel empowered and emancipated. And you can reflect on your experience through critical engagement with audio-visual resources. So there is not just the cognitive component that we are covering, but also the emotional terrain in which teaching and learning is located in the classroom with children. You are not just working with their brain. If you remember Krishnaji's 2 horses theory, then it's not just you're working with the brain of the child, you're also working with the emotion of the child. So this is the key aspects of our approach that I'll be doing with you in these 2 days. Inquiry-based learning, how do you reflect and become active participants? Assemblage of best practices both in rural and urban areas that help you to see your role in the process of transformation, and not just subject knowledge but along with it creativity and multi-sensorial engagement. I'll explain to you as how when we begin our program I will. And activities that strengthen your own self-learning, because you are growing all the time as a teacher. You're not, when you finish B.Ed, you go into schools, you will start teaching, throughout your life you will be growing. So some of this should stay with you. So our program structure, I'm not going to do all this with you, please don't get worried, because it's quite detailed. We have modules, a number of modules. In each module we have blocks, then there are units, and I will just be doing 2 or 3 units with you in these 2 days. There's no time to do even a block. And each unit has one aspect which reflects on conceptual learning and the other the classroom implications. Because as teachers you should have conceptual learning, you should know through case study situations, reflection, explanation, but at the same time we also have activities and examples in the material to help you understand what are the classroom implications. So not just to learn concepts, you must be able to implement those in the class. These are the modules we have. We have prepared these, but with you I am just taking out few things from pedagogy across the curriculum, from personal development and self-growth. But we have all of these, environmental studies, English, pedagogy of English language. Somebody said they are teaching English here. And these are the themes of the modules. And then the units in key module, for example, the pedagogy across curriculum, these are the ones, the units. Each unit will take 2.5 hours to transact. So that's why this was conceived as a 2-year program, online, in distance mode. But now, after COVID, we have been going to different places and conducting this program. This is also some educational practice modules which we have, which I am not doing any of these with you, but these are there with us. And then this personal development, teacher development, to help you go into yourself also. And from here, I will be doing 1 unit from this tomorrow. So we have done pilots of this in all these places, in Delhi University, in rural area, in Jhunjhunu district, in a school, Sardar Patel Vidyalaya in Delhi. We presented it in Japan and in France and got very good feedback. From that feedback, we have improved on it, and this is some of the insights. I'll just quickly share with you. Bilingual mode is what the feedback we got. So I will try to use bilingual while speaking with you, and that was one of the things that was seen. You can see this 61.5% of where we did the survey, they wanted us to use bilingual. Then the complexity, was it easy, was it difficult, and 42.3% said that it was at level 2. So it was quite easy to understand. This I'm just sharing so that you don't get anxious when we start the program. Then we have a lot of reflection and group discussion which was found useful, you can see here. It helps the teachers to relate concept to their lives. Then we have group discussion, we will be having a group activity with you in the afternoon. And examples and illustration stories help you to contextualize the concept so that you can easily consider it for use. So on relevance also we have these insights. What are they, can they be actually demonstrating to you things that you want to do? Is there an interdisciplinary approach which we have used, and also creative activities so that you can use those activities in the classroom setting. This was just this in Jhunjhunu district where we tried out this program. These are just some visuals.
Thank you, ma'am, for that wonderful introduction of the Enrichment program. Your insight into the world of education and its evolving role are truly inspiring, and we are grateful for the invaluable wisdom you have shared with us today. So to conclude this inaugural session, now I invite Dr. Juhi Rai to deliver formal vote of thanks.
Honorable Meenakshi Thapan ma'am, respected Principal ma'am, my learned colleagues and the pupil teachers who are going to be enriched with this enrichment program that is our planning. And certainly you have just got the introduction of our adorable speaker, that how much experience she has, and it is now up to you. The way you will interact, the more you will interact, the more will you gain. So whatever queries, many things I know where my students are puzzled regarding execution of the various child-centered pedagogies, actually on the ground level is the biggest task. And recently, ma'am, they have done the practice teaching in the nearby existing schools. So share all those experience with the ma'am, and certainly you will get the new insights to overcome all those hardships. Okay. So with this, I'm very proposing the vote of thanks today. Of course, we are very grateful to the Meenakshi ma'am that she has chosen our college for delivering this rigor teacher enrichment program. Equally here, all the students who they are present today with all their necessary planning and all take the grab this opportunity for your more enrichment and progress. All the learned colleagues who are present over here and who helped here for the for necessary arrangements required for this program, we are thankful to them. We are equally thankful to the music department for the beautiful presentation of the Vasant Geet, that is the soul of our campus. And all the technical staff who managed the things over here, we are extremely thankful. And with this note, let us start this next session of the day. Thank you. So with this, we will take a 10 minutes break, and afterwards we will start our regular.